is the song for which we have gotten the title, Evermore Shall Be. And that is the play that I'm going to direct. And I'm going to go through a little bit of the story and the mystery and the characters for you and entice you, hopefully, to come out and read for me on March 3rd and 4th. So, without further ado, I'll get into the characters and we'll learn a little bit more about what's going on and what this story is all about and the characters. Hang on. Okay, well, we're back. And the first character is Ida Cornish. And all good mysteries and stories have to have a wonderfully faithful housekeeper. And that's Ida. Ida Cornish, she's about, 50 to 60 years old. We can play with it. And one of the things about Ida is she loves to gossip. She's the town gossip. And not only that, not only does she like to talk about things, but she likes to be the first one to know things. And when she's not, she's quite put out. So, that's Ida. We're first introduced to her. She's the first one on stage. She is a very faithful housekeeper. And like I said, is a gossip and loves to tell things to people. You know, it's wonderful to be the one to tell people things. So, that's our Ida. Next is her best friend, faithful friend, Sheila. Sheila! She is also about 50 or 60 years old, and she's come to the vicar's house because that's where Ida is the housekeeper, of course, and she's come for tea, and she wants to tell Ida the news because, for once, she is the one who has the news. She has heard that the Summerfields, the vicar family, have invited their friend Brandon Walsh to come and write the story, the Lily White story. How exciting! And she gets to tell Ida that, and Ida's not very happy about it because she didn't know at first. And so Sheila is very faithful to Ida, and she's a very good friend. You never know if you can trust her because, you know, that's the way gossips are. And she goes to the library when she hears that Brandon is coming, signs out one of his books, and she's going to have him sign it. Never mind, it belongs to the library. Wow. Next we have Roy. Now, Roy, he is the Summerfield gardener, and he's a very rough sort of character, you know, rough around the edges. Was an ex-con, but he knows his gardening. He knows how to mow grass and, you know, trim things, and he's very good. So he's not been unfaithful to the Summerfields, and they have no reason not to like him, though, you know, he's not necessarily somebody they want in their house, but, you know, he's a good gardener. But what's the story? What is his story? Does he know more about this Lily White mystery? What? Next, we will introduce the Lily Whites. Now, the Lily Whites, they've come to town a few years ago. David Lily White and his wife, Helen. And David brought his brother. David and his brother are very, very close. But tragically, soon after the Lily Whites arrived, there was some nasty business about, well, we don't know what. And his brother was murdered, shot. It's very sad. And poor David has not recovered. Well, you know, they go on with life. They have this tea room. They make do. And Helen, his wife, makes a wonderful lemon pound cake, and in her day, she was a wonderful actress. She did some work, you know, and she's not all that old, really. She did some work, and she was semi-famous, and she had her time in the spotlight. But she's gotten married to David, and now this tragedy has happened soon after they arrived. And she had quite the breakdown. but she's gone on, and the town has accepted them, and thanks in part to her lemon pound cake. She's very good at that, and you know, maybe some of the other things they serve are not all that great, but you know, to her credit, she can do that. And they, with the Lillywhites, have tried to put this terrible tragedy behind them. But is there more to that story? Awfully odd. Coming to a new town, and the brother shot, and that very thing is what gets Miss Lydia Summerfield, the wife of the vicar, the Reverend Edmund Summerfield, thinking. She has a friend. She has a friend, Brandon Walsh. And he's done some traveling, you know. He's been here and there, and he's quite suave, actually. And he's written books, has sort of a name for himself. He digs into the past, finds out, you know, what really happened. Just the facts, man. And he writes books. He writes wonderful mysteries. And so they're friends, the Summerfields and Brandon Walsh. Turns out that Edwin had gone to school with Mr. Edwin, with Mr. Brandon Walsh. And Lydia is second cousins with Brandon. So it's a whole relationship there, which we're going to learn more about. Kind of odd. But anyway, Brandon, he's not really sure, you know, is there really a story here? You know, I'll go over there and I'll check it out for Lydia and good old Eddie. You know, but you know, is there much there? I don't know. I'm going to waste my time, but I'll go over there and check it out. So that's what happens. But he had a visit. He had a visit from a town resident who quickly, in his mind, made him change it. You know, he kind of she put the lid on it. And her name is Gwendolyn Crenshaw. She's about 60, and she's a woman of the world, quite well-to-do, always very well-dressed. But she apparently lives in this small town, has grown up there, and come back home. And this whole Lillywhite thing has just pretty much given her a really bad reputation. And the reason is, after the murder, she went to the police to tell them what she saw in a quarry near town with the Lillywhite brothers. It wasn't pretty. It was disgusting, she said. And well, I don't want to reveal too much, but it was terrible. And why was somebody murdered? Because that was really weird. And what she told the police was so shocking that people don't respect her anymore. And so when she hears that this Brandon Walsh, investigative reporter, investigative book writer, is coming to town to look into the Lillywhite story, she's quite happy, actually, because she wants her story. She wants her story out, and she wants to be vindicated at last. She's grumpy. She's irritating, and you don't like her. But she's got a story to tell. So, she's one of my characters. Next is Reverend Edwin Summerfield. He's the vicar. He's the vicar of the town, and he's contemplative, sad, studious. At least when I read him, he seemed an underlying sadness to him. Not sure why. But he wasn't meant for big town assignments in the church. No, he's very happy in his small town. Though, you know, the faithful few are so few. They come for funerals and holidays and weddings. But there's very little action and very little people to give bread to. But it's better than being in the big city. And he has his wife, Lydia, whom he loves dearly. Loves, loves, loves. And she spends a lot of her time in, well, the script says London, but we'll probably make it New York or Boston. She spends a lot of her time there. Not sure why. Lots of mystery in this small town. Finally, we're going to get to Maurice. Maurice is a suave man with a mustache. Don't ask me why they say that in the script. A mustache. Whatever. But he owns a high-end restaurant in the town. And he's done some work with poor Lydia because she can't cook. Can't cook at all. And so he's a very kind man, very, very much a man of the world, and knows food and business, and has quite the successful high-end restaurant in the town. And he has poured some of his knowledge into poor Lydia, who hasn't quite got it. But that's okay. You know, he does what he can. He's also quite involved in the church. And his son, I believe it is, plays the organ. And, you know, he does what he can. He does what he can. But he is very, very put out that the Summerfields would invite this friend of theirs, this Brandon Walsh, to come and do this book. Why would they do that? After all that poor Helen Lillywhite and David Lillywhite have had to go through, how could they do that to them? So he's very angry when we first meet him. But we'll get to know him a little bit better. And so, lastly, we have Lydia. I alluded to her a little bit. Lydia is the wife of the vicar, of the reverend, and she's a young, beautiful girl who, you know, I don't think of her as a pastor's wife, but you know, whatever. She seems to love her husband, Edwin, and she is just the darling friend of Brandon. And like I said, she can't cook worth anything. But, you know, they're living on love, whatever. And so that's the characters. That's the characters of Green Grow with the Marchesaux and Evermore Shall Be So. You've heard a little bit of the song, and I'm excited. It is totally, I have it blocked, but we'll have to flesh that out and all that when we get there. But this is the script. Lots of fun. If you like mysteries, if you like fun characters, and need something to do over the spring, come on out. What we'll do is, like any other show, we'll read excerpts from the script, and we'll go from there. So, very excited. March 3rd and 4th, 7 o'clock. Be there. Thank you.